What the narcissist really thinks about you when they can never come back. Have you ever wondered what really goes on in the mind of a narcissist after you finally walk away? When they realize the door is closed forever, their thoughts turn dark, twisted, and revealing. Tonight we're peeling back the mask to uncover what they truly think of you when they can never come back. Stay with me until the end, because once you hear these truths, you'll never look at them the same way again. At first, the narcissist does not believe the ending is real. They are used to controlling the cycle, leaving and returning on their terms. When you break that cycle, it shatters their sense of superiority. In their mind, no one leaves them permanently, so their first reaction is denial, convincing themselves that you will eventually weaken and let them back into your life. When reality sets in, their thoughts turn bitter. They begin to see you not as a person they once loved, but as someone who dared to reject them. Narcissists interpret rejection as humiliation. To them, it is not about losing you as a human being, but about losing control, losing the mirror that reflected their power and importance back to them. Deep down, narcissists depend on their partners more than they admit. You became their source of validation, admiration, and even identity. Without you, there is a hole in their fragile self-image. But rather than facing that emptiness, they twist their thinking. They tell themselves that you are the problem, that you never understood them, and that you are unworthy. Their mind starts rewriting history. They remember the times they hurt you, not with guilt, but with justification. In their thinking, you deserved the coldness, the criticism, the neglect. This rewriting protects them from shame. Instead of confronting their flaws, they cast themselves as the victim of your supposed betrayal for leaving them behind. Inwardly, they oscillate between anger and longing. The anger is about losing their control, while the longing is about losing their supply. They miss the attention, the care, the way you once chased after their approval. But they don't miss you as a full human being. They miss the role you played, the comfort of being admired and needed. A narcissist's thoughts are filled with envy when you move on. If they suspect you are healing, growing, or finding happiness without them, it wounds their pride. They don't think, "I'm glad they are happy." Instead, they think, "How dare they thrive without me?" Your growth becomes an insult to them, proof that they were never as essential as they believed. They may imagine ways to damage your reputation. In their mind, if they can't have you, they can still control how others see you. Smear campaigns, gossip, or subtle comments to mutual friends may follow. This is how they maintain the illusion of dominance. Even after losing you, their thoughts are not of love, but of power and image. At the same time, they fantasize about returns. Even when it's clear you've closed the door, narcissists imagine scenarios where you regret leaving and beg them back. These fantasies feed their ego, allowing them to believe they remain unforgettable. They rarely confront the truth that the person who once longed for them has finally reclaimed their freedom. Narcissists secretly think of you as both too weak and too strong. Too weak because they convinced themselves you couldn't handle their greatness. Too strong because you had the courage to walk away. This contradiction reveals their confusion. They cannot categorize you neatly, and so they shift between devaluing you and secretly fearing your strength. What shocks them most is your silence. When they cannot reach you, when their messages go unanswered, when their manipulations fail, it unsettles them deeply. They think about you obsessively, not because of love, but because silence reminds them of their loss of power. To a narcissist, silence is louder than words because it shows indifference. They wonder if you are speaking about them. The thought that you may be sharing your story terrifies them. Narcissists depend on controlling the narrative, and once you reclaim your voice, they lose that control. Their thoughts spiral. What if others see me for who I really am? This fear gnaws at them, though they will never admit it. When they realize they cannot come back, some narcissists shift into despair. They may appear outwardly unaffected, but inside, the loss of supply destabilizes them. They may rush to find new sources of admiration, jumping quickly into new relationships. But no matter how fast they replace you, the thought of being discarded themselves leaves a painful mark. The narcissist thinks of you as a challenge they failed to conquer. Their pride is wounded, and this lingers long after the relationship ends. They may downplay your importance, telling others you were crazy or too much, but privately, they can't stop replaying the reality that you walked away. It becomes a bruise on their inflated ego. They may tell themselves, "You will never find someone better." This is their way of soothing the wound. In their mind, no one else could tolerate you the way they did. But deep down, the thought that you might find genuine love terrifies them. They imagine you happy in someone else's arms, and it eats away at their fragile pride. Even when they act indifferent, narcissists think about you more than they let on. They analyze your silence, stalk your progress from afar, and measure their worth against your healing. Their thoughts are not, "I hope they're okay." Instead, they are, "Why am I not the center of their world anymore?" It's obsession dressed as detachment. They think of you as property. Even if years have passed, they may feel entitled to you, as though you belong to them forever. This mindset is not about love, but about ownership. When they realize they can never return, it feels like losing a possession, not a partner. It's a blow to their sense of entitlement that cuts deep. Some narcissists fantasize about revenge. If they can't return, they imagine ways to hurt you emotionally, socially, or even professionally. These fantasies are not always acted upon, but they reflect their inability to accept loss gracefully. Instead of processing grief, their mind creates scenarios where they win, even if it means your pain. Others retreat into self-pity. They may think, "No one ever truly understands me." This victim mindset shields them from accountability. In their thoughts, you become another name on the list of people who failed them. By painting themselves as misunderstood, they avoid confronting the truth that their own behavior is what drove you away. At night, when the noise quiets, the narcissist may think of you in flashes of memory, not with tenderness, but with longing for the admiration you once gave. They replay the moments you looked at them with awe, the way you cared so deeply. These memories are not about connection, but about fuel. They miss the feeling of being idolized. Narcissists also think of you as unfinished business, even if the relationship is long gone. In their mind, doors should never be closed to them. They struggle to comprehend finality. So the thought that you have permanently locked them out feels unnatural. It lingers, scratching at their ego, because closure is something they never grant others. They think of you with confusion. How did you escape? How did you resist their manipulations? This thought troubles them deeply. To lose someone is one thing, but to lose control, that is unbearable. Your resistance forces them to confront a reality they hate. They are not invincible, and their power has limits. They also think of ways to rewrite the story. If they cannot come back, they reshape the narrative. They may tell others they left you, that they were the ones who ended it, or that you were obsessed with them. These stories protect their ego, allowing them to believe they still hold the upper hand, even when reality says otherwise. Sometimes, they think of you with fleeting admiration, not admiration for who you are, but for your ability to slip through their grasp. They envy your strength, even if they would never say it. This secret envy is twisted into bitterness, because admiring you would mean admitting weakness, something their ego cannot tolerate. They think of you when they see reminders, songs, places, or objects linked to the relationship. But unlike healthy nostalgia, their thoughts are laced with resentment. Instead of "I miss them," it becomes "I should still own them." They cannot experience loss as love lost, only as control denied. The human element is missing from their memory. They think of you when their new relationships fail to meet expectations. They compare, not with honesty, but with longing for the way you once put them first. Yet instead of gratitude, their mind twists it into entitlement. They should have stayed. They owed me their devotion. It's a cycle of regret they cannot admit out loud. They think of you with suspicion. Did you ever really love them? Were you plotting your escape all along? These paranoid thoughts protect them from facing the truth, that you once loved deeply, but could no longer tolerate the abuse. It is easier for them to imagine betrayal than to admit their own cruelty drove you away. Narcissists think of you as both unforgettable and replaceable. This contradiction defines their mind. They know they will never find someone who mirrored their ego the way you did. Yet they tell themselves replacements are everywhere. This mental tug-of-war reveals their emptiness. They cannot reconcile the loss, so they distort reality instead. When they see you thriving, they think of you with rage. Healing, smiling, or succeeding without them feels like an attack on their pride. Instead of celebrating your growth, they stew in bitterness. To a narcissist, your independence is not proof of strength. It is evidence of disloyalty, a reminder that their power over you has ended. They think of you as selfish for leaving, even though they never gave you what you needed. In their world, your decision to protect yourself becomes a crime. This twisted logic shields them from guilt. It allows them to keep believing they are blameless, while painting you as cold or heartless for choosing freedom over control. They think of you when they feel lonely. But the loneliness is not about missing your love, it's about missing the supply. They miss the comfort of knowing someone would always answer, always soothe, always prioritize them. Their thoughts are less, I miss them, and more, I miss what they did for me. They think of you as unfinished, even when you have fully healed. In their mind, people are not allowed to outgrow them. So they imagine you secretly longing, even if all evidence shows otherwise. This fantasy protects their ego. It reassures them that no one can ever truly walk away, even when reality has already proven them wrong. They think of you with blame. Every shortcoming, every failure in the relationship becomes your fault in their mind. They convince themselves they were the one who sacrificed, the one who endured, the one who deserved better. This distorted narrative allows them to dodge accountability, keeping their fragile identity intact. They think of you when their pride is wounded elsewhere. If criticized at work or rejected socially, their mind may drift back to you. They remember the way you once admired them, and they crave that comfort. But instead of appreciating it, they resent you for no longer being available to restore their fragile self-esteem. They think of you when they feel powerless. Narcissists despise weakness, yet losing you forces them to confront it. Rather than accept vulnerability, they cloak it in anger. In their thoughts, you become the enemy who stripped them of their control, when in truth, all you did was reclaim your right to peace and dignity. They think of you with longing when they see others admire you. If you grow socially or professionally, they stew in envy. Instead of being proud, they see your success as betrayal. They once believed they created you, that your worth existed because of them. Seeing you shine without them cuts deeply into their fragile pride. They think of you when they feel bored. Narcissists are addicted to stimulation. Your presence once provided drama, passion, and conflict. Without you, life feels dull. But instead of cherishing stability, they crave the chaos you left behind. Their mind associates you not with love, but with intensity, the kind that keeps their ego alive. They think of you when they cannot manipulate others as easily. Your resistance showed them that not everyone can be controlled. This haunts them, because it reminds them of limits they don't want to face. In their mind, you become the example of the one who got away, and that thought bruises their pride again and again. They think of you with curiosity. What are you doing now? Are you happier? Are you thinking of them? But the curiosity is not tender, it's possessive. They don't wonder because they care, but because they fear being forgot. For a narcissist, obscurity is the greatest insult, and your silence feeds that fear. They think of you with contempt when others praise you. If mutual acquaintances speak highly of you, it ignites jealousy. Instead of agreeing, they downplay or dismiss your qualities. In their mind, they cannot allow you to outshine them. Their thoughts become defensive, rewriting your strengths as flaws to preserve their fragile self-image. They think of you as disloyal, even if you endured years of mistreatment. To them, staying would have proven your loyalty. Leaving proves, in their mind, that you were never truly devoted. This twisted reasoning blinds them to their role in the collapse. It's easier to see you as unfaithful than to confront their own abuse. They think of you when they see others resisting them. Your defiance becomes a symbol of rebellion they cannot erase. It reminds them that control is never absolute. Though they may pretend not to care, the memory of your strength lingers, haunting them in ways they cannot fully admit. You become a scar on their pride. They think of you when they feel the urge to idealize. Sometimes, they may look back and imagine you as perfect, the one they should never have lost. But this is not genuine love. It is nostalgia for the control they once held. Their idealization is shallow, and it flips quickly back into resentment when reality sinks in. They think of you when they try to impress others. Your absence creates a void in their audience. They brag louder, exaggerate more, because they no longer have your eyes on them. But no matter how much attention they gather, the thought remains, the one who once admired them has chosen to look away forever. They think of you as proof of their fragility. Though they'd never admit it, losing you exposes the cracks in their identity. For a narcissist, being discarded feels like annihilation. Their thoughts circle back, if I was truly as great as I claim, how could they leave? This silent doubt eats away at their false confidence. They think of you when they fear being replaced. If you find love again, their thoughts become bitter. They convince themselves your new partner could never measure up, even as jealousy consumes them. They cannot grasp that your new relationship might be healthy because they measure everything in terms of power, not mutual care. They think of you in extremes, either as worthless or as irreplaceable. There is no middle ground in their mind. This black and white thinking reveals their lack of nuance. It shows that their thoughts about you are not rooted in reality, but in the fragile lens through which they see the world: control, possession, and ego. They think of you when they fear aging or losing relevance. Narcissists cling to youth, beauty, or status. As time strips these illusions, the memory of losing you compounds their dread. You become a reminder that nothing lasts forever, not their charm, not their control, and not their place in the hearts of those they once deceived. They think of you with bitterness, but also with a strange dependence. You remain part of their inner story, whether they admit it or not. For them, the inability to return is both enraging and haunting. You become the symbol of a loss they cannot rewrite, a door permanently closed, a chapter they cannot control. And so, when the narcissist thinks of you after they can never come back, their thoughts are not of love, but of power lost. They think of control denied, of pride wounded, of admiration gone. Yet none of this defines you. What defines you now is freedom, strength, and healing. Their thoughts belong to them, but your future belongs to you. The thoughts of a narcissist are tangled in control, pride, and fear. But remember, none of that defines you anymore. What defines you now is your courage, your healing, and the life you are rebuilding. If this message spoke to your heart, share it with someone who needs the same clarity. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join this community where your story matters and your healing truly begins.